And the other person might feel like, wait, you said you were going to try, which for them might have meant you said you were going to complete the task and then decide if that worked for you or not. So today I want to talk about something that you don't see a whole lot of attention paid to this particular subject, but it's something that can have a significant effect on not just your romantic relationships, but your friendships, your work relationships, and especially parent-child relationships. And that is how we use our language, how we define words, and what certain phrases might mean to us. It's not something that usually is on the list of things to discuss when you are courting somebody, when you first meet them, right? These types of things are usually you only find out that the same word means something different to the two of you once a problem has presented itself and like, oh wait, that's what that meant to you. I thought something completely different. Now, one imaginary example that I can give you is, let's imagine two people are talking about the things that they want to accomplish, and the one person says, "I'm going to try running a marathon and see how I like it." The other person says, "Yeah, I think I'll try to run a marathon too. And we'll see how that goes." Now, in the context of regular conversation, those two sentences might appear to be pretty much exactly the same, but it could mean completely different things depending on your point of view and how you express yourself. Now, the person that says, "I'm going to try running a marathon and see how it goes," their intent is that they are going to run a marathon and see how it goes. So, whatever the task is, they are going to complete the task and then decide if they want to continue running marathons or if it was for them or not. The person that said, "I'm going to try to run a marathon and see how it goes," I'm going to try to run the marathon. So they are not saying that they're going to run a marathon. They are saying that they are going to try to run the marathon. So that means basically at any given point in time in the process of trying to do it, if it becomes too difficult for them, they will simply quit. While the other person, their intent was to actually run the marathon. Now, this is an oversimplified example, but when you put this into the context of a romantic relationship or especially a parent and a child, now you start talking about expectations that one person might have to the other, and this can cause great trouble. So if you have a parent and child are communicating in that method, and the parent says, I want you to do your homework, and the child says, "I will try to do my homework," the parent might interpret that as, okay, they are hearing what I'm saying, they're going to do it. And then the child may interpret their response as, "Well, I said I would try. I didn't say I was going to do it." Again, it's oversimplified to make the point. Same thing can happen in a relationship, whether somebody is working on their trauma, whether there are boundary issues, whatever the situation might be, where the two of you are having a discussion, somebody might simply make the response to say, "Well, I'll try." But if you haven't defined what try means to you versus what try means to them, you could very easily end up in a situation where the person that said they would try does not complete the task, does not do the thing that the other person thought that they were agreeing to do. The person that said that they would try might just have felt like what that meant was, I'm going to try. But again, if it becomes too difficult, they may feel like they're comfortable in simply giving up or not completing the task, while the other person is saying, "Oh, wait a minute, you said you were going to try therapy, or you said you were going to, try to talk to your mother or your brother, whoever that you had a falling out with." And what happens is when you get to this point, it's almost too late. You can work it out if you both recognize that, okay, wait a minute, we were saying the same thing, but it was meaning something differently. But it depends on how long the situation, it depends on how long it's been going on. If you and your partner have a discussion about something and one person is left with the impression that the other person has committed to doing this thing and then it doesn't get done, the person that failed to do the thing might feel like, well, I tried for a full year. And the other person might feel like, wait, you said you were going to try, which for them might have meant you said you were going to complete the task and then decide if that worked for you or not. So it's very important as you go on. I've talked about this in the last several videos. Again, this is another situation where when you're beginning a relationship, when you first meet somebody, the only way to mitigate these things is to have an element of time to be with that person and interact with that person long enough before a marriage or a cohabitation situation takes place, to have been in enough real life situations with them so that when they say this is what they really mean, because we all have different experiences, right? We all grew up completely different. Even if you have similar things that have happened to you, the reactions that we have each had as individuals will be different, and that will formulate how we define words and the phrases that we use. Phrasing also is a very important thing. In the example I gave, I'm going to try to run a marathon versus I'm going to run a marathon. It might sound similar-esque, and like, again, the one person might completely just feel like saying you're trying to do something is agreeing to do the thing, and the other person might have only agreed to say they would try to do something because they assumed that you knew that their language meant that they could back out at any time. This could cause a lot of problems when you get later on down the road and one person that has had an expectation for however long, that expectation goes unmet, and the other person says, well, at least I tried. And then you have a disagreement over what the word try means, and you realize, oh my God, we've been doing this for a year and we haven't even had the same goal. We haven't even been having the same expectations. The key to this is giving the relationship time at the beginning. But the second part, the most important part here really, is the ability to have the difficult conversations and the ability to have the conversations where the other person might be saying something that feels a little bit accusatory, and you having the ability to be like, okay, they're not accusing me of something. This is just a genuine question on their part, and being able to hold yourself together to complete the conversation so that you don't have misunderstandings that go on and on and on for long periods of time, where you both think that you've agreed to something and in reality you both have meant something completely different. The ability to have those conversations is an absolute must to obtain and to keep what any of us would consider to be a healthy relationship.